this is a parliament for the whole of Scotland. It's not just a parliament for the Central Belt, it's not a parliament for Edinburgh. And we think it's important that we come here, that people have got an opportunity to see the work that the Scottish Parliament do, and probably more importantly, that we get an opportunity to hear what their concerns are.
This Parliament Day involved the Public Petitions Committee holding a workshop as well as a formal committee meeting at the Council Chambers in Stornoway. The presiding officer, accompanied by local MSP Alistair Allen, undertook a series of visits across the Western Isles. In Harris, where they met some of the stitchers working on the Great Tapestry of Scotland and the panel depicting the sinking of the Isle Air in 1919. The presiding officer was delighted to be allowed to add some stitches to the tapestry. Later in the morning they met Caroline Schaefer, a weaver of Harris tweed, and the presiding officer was invited into her shed to see her loom and some of her finished tweed. Next stop was at Sholem, a local history visitor centre where they met volunteers, including founder Bill Lawson, and learnt how people from the island have populated the world. This was followed by a networking lunch in Tarbert and an opportunity to meet local groups and organisations in an informal setting. Then on to the Harris Tweed Shop to look at what is probably the best known export from the island.
Thank you very much.
The final visit of the day was to Hebrides Alpha in Stornoway, a project for people with addiction problems. The local media were keen to find out what the presiding officer thought of her trip. After a quick TV interview with BBC Alba, it was off to Isles FM radio station and then to the offices of the Stornoway Gazette to meet editor Melinda Gillan and be interviewed for their next edition. After her day, what had the presiding officer learnt about the Western Isles?
I think what struck me about the Western Isles was the strength of the community and the number of voluntary organisations and the number of people who are helping out in their community by volunteering. And I think the level of volunteering in the Western Isles is far higher than anywhere I've seen.
In the evening, the presiding officer hosted a reception for representatives of local groups and organisations at the Nicholson Institute, where they were entertained by the local groups, including the Back Gaelic Choir, the National Youth Choir of Scotland, as well as Ceilidh band Farum.